What's up, y'all? This is your fantabulous awesomeness, everythingness host, Bree Bethencourt of Dear Future Husband. So excited to be back. As you know, I'm excited to see y'all every week. Every single week, okay? I love y'all. Y'all love me. It's like, we have this relationship going on. So anyways, thank you guys for tuning in yet again. And yet again, as always, I'm going to bring you an awesome show. So we have my girl, Jennifer, here. And we're just going to jump right into it. You know how I like to do it, y'all. We just jump right into the tea. All right? So, hi.
First white lady on the show. Just had to, let's just put it out there.
Let's go and give it to her. Let's go and give it to her.
A lot of pressure. I'm going to try to not embarrass my people. They do enough on their own. Mm-hmm.
So, Jennifer, I had to, like I told you, I wanted to bring you on here because that love story, okay, very interesting. And I just wanted to, not only is it interesting, but I feel like you're the epitome of, society tells us that as women, if we've had a child by somebody else, then it's just hard for anybody else to find you attractive, for a man to step in and want to, quote unquote, father that child, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's damn near impossible. Right. But you've been able to make it work and have a blended family, in spite of everything that you went through. So I want to start from the very beginning and work our way to the present. Does that work for you?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's jump into it.
Yes. I feel like we should start with the beginning of the love story. Maybe. I'm sure the other one, the unlove, will probably creep in.
Yes.
It'll creep in.
Yes. Start with how you guys met. How did that start?
Yes. So we met on a dating site.
Okay.
I was not trying to have a boyfriend. So I had only been divorced for, actually, you know what? Our first date was the day after my divorce was final.
I love it. Look at the timing.
I know. Yeah. So now the marriage.
Did you time it that way on purpose?
No.
That's just how it happened. Okay.
Purely coincidental.
Okay.
But so the marriage had been unhappy for a while, and then you're an attorney. Divorces take an exceptionally long time.
Yes.
Oh, anyway, so it took a really long time. But I was not trying to date. I was like, once the ink dried on that, I was like, not trying to date, never gonna get married again, never doing that. Yeah.
Done.
No. But also, this thing happens when you're a woman and you turn about 40. This thing happens where you have needs, and so I was
they're very strong.
They
40.
are.
Like, they didn't lie.
No.
I thought it was a lie.
No, it's not a lie.
It's very strong.
Not a lie. So.
I said, oh. Okay.
Yeah, I was not ready. And that was like, what unfortunate timing. What unfortunate timing. So I was like, I just need to find somebody to have a little fun with, like every other weekend. Yeah. I don't want to be friends. I don't want to talk on the phone.
I don't want to be
friends. I mean, if we happen to be friends, like, that's fine. But I'm not looking for that. I just want, some fun.
Right.
God, I hope my mother doesn't watch this. She wouldn't be surprised.
Mom,
anyway, I know, right? She's at this point, she's like, whatever. So yeah, I was just scrolling along, and here comes Mr. like lead singer of a band, tattoos and tall and
sexy.
all the good
things,
all of it. And I really didn't read much. I was like, I looked at the pictures. I saw he was a dad, and I was like, okay, so that's good. But his info seemed like he was literate, and I was like, okay, check, literate, good looking, perfect. All right, got it. And then we talked on the phone, and he was really funny, which is like, that's a thing for me, right? So I was like,
because you have such a personality, right?
I do.
I can't imagine you with somebody dry.
I was married to one for 11 years. Yeah. He was not funny. And that was a real problem for us because I am very funny. And he did not like that. He always wanted to be the funnier one, and he worked real hard at it, and it was not cute. It was not cute. So this one is real funny and talented and really smart and like very honest, all the things. And so we hang up, and I'm like, shit, okay. I'm just going to keep dating, though, also other people. And that way, because this is not serious. It's not serious. and went on our first date, and first date went really well. And I woke up the next day and was like calling people, and was like, okay, he's great. It's not serious. Like, come on, he's in a band. Like, he's, he has a real job too also. I feel like I could put that out there, but I'm like, no, it's not serious, not serious, not serious. And then it, after a couple weeks, I was like, damn it. Okay. All right. I feel like we might be getting serious. And I kept saying that to him too. I'm like, this is not, you're not going to be my boyfriend. And he's like, yes, I am. And I was like, okay, but you're not going to be my boyfriend. You're not going to meet my kid. I'm not going to meet your kids. And then it just kind of like happened. He wore me down. And
everybody met everybody's kids.
Oh my God. Listen, y'all. Okay. So we, I don't know if you remember, February 14th, which is Valentine's Day of 2021. I don't know if you remember where you were. We had a blizzard.
Oh.
Uh-huh. So that was our night that I was like, okay, the night before I was like, okay, we're going to bring all the kids. He had a friend coming in town with his wife, and he was like, we're gonna have some people over. And I was like, okay, that'll be good. I'll bring my kid and I'll just act like this is not a thing, right? Like, we're just gonna all hang out. We're just gonna go meet
bunch of friends.
Bunch of friends, right? And we'll just kind of see how they interact. It's like when you get a new puppy and you want to see if your puppy gets along with your other puppy. And I was like, let's see how the puppies play. I don't know. And so within about 15 minutes, the kids were like curled up on the couch together, snuggled up, watching a movie, loving it, having a great time. And then the news comes on and it's like, okay, we're about to have a blizzard. So like wherever you are right now is where you're going to be. Where you're going to be.
Yeah.
That's it.
Was that the Snowmageddon?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. It sure was. Okay. It sure was. So I, my ex, he immediately moved in basically with his girlfriend. And so my son, she's very ugly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I'm not.
It's
okay. Like not even an opinion. That is fact. Anyway, so, but where we were at that point was my kid was coming home all the time and saying like, every time I'm with Daddy, that's just, like, she's always there. And it made him really unhappy. Okay. And so I was really nervous about that, shoving this other human on him,
After he's expressing how he felt about his
dad's
relationship.
Yeah. So I pulled him aside and I was like, look, it's about to be a storm and we're going to be where we're at. So like, I need to know from you, we can do either way. We can stay here with these people or we can go home and it can just be you and me for like a week. We'll have a great time. We won't, that'd be terrible. But y'all know. Right. But I was like, but it's up to you. And he was like, let's stay here. I love them. They're so fun. And they play with me and, whatever. And I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. And so for the next 9 days, me and him and his 2 kids and my son and his best friend and his wife who were up visiting, we all lived together through the Snowmageddon with the heat went out, I think the second day. In his house, or maybe the third day. All the things, right? All the things.
No, the water, the hot water. Did y'all have hot water?
Did we? I feel like we did. We eventually ended up caravanning to my house over here, where I called ahead. I have the best neighbor, and I called and I was like, "Hey, how are the pipes? Could you go check and make sure my house is okay?" Because we didn't want to, travel all the way over to desolate situation. But that was great. So then we lived in my little house for another 5 days. All of us, everybody, because the heat was out over there. It was freezing. So at my house we had heat and wood, because at that point we were about to start breaking furniture and it was bad. Anyway, so that was like, that was it. And then my dad decides to, so my parents live like a mile down the street. And my parents are very conservative, Southern Baptist people. The divorce was real hard on my mom, especially. My dad was like a little better. My dad's parents were divorced, so he was like a little more okay. But they both really struggled with it, especially because my ex was the man you always want your kid to marry. You know what I mean? He was like Mr. Perfect.
But not.
No. No. And my parents are like those, like, we don't like tattoos. We don't like piercings. See, they just love
and
me.
that's all he had.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And the night before, we were bored. We'd been in the house for 7 days. So he had let his daughters paint his fingernails. And then all of a sudden my mom's like, hey, your dad is going to get out and go to the store and he was going to bring by some milk. I was like, why does he need to? We're fine. We're fine. We don't need milk. We're good. No, he's just going to stop by. I was like, oh, he wants to know. He wants to see this. That's what that is. So my dad got to come by and meet him and did one of these.
Not the face.
Got the up and down.
Not the
he
face.
got the up and down. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now, would you say that was the beginning of the beginning? Was that what?
Yeah.
That the fact that y'all were forced to live together.
Yes.
Especially so early on.
Oh,
too.
yeah. Well, and I left out a very important detail. So we had been dating for like a month at that point.
Okay.
And I don't know I don't know. But I had actually said the L word that night.
There's
like
nothing wrong with that. Okay.
So for Valentine's Day, I got him a little bracelet, and on the inside it said, like, I love you. And that was his Valentine's Day present. And it was like a whole thing. Like, that's what I gave him the night that we got blizzarded in together, which was terrifying. But I just knew. I just knew at that point. Okay. I didn't know where it was going to go. I didn't know marriage, not marriage, whatever. I just knew that I loved him.
You loved him. Yeah.
I did. There was one night we were on the phone and that we hung up and I was like, I love him. I don't know if I'm supposed to be with him. I don't see how that works.
Why?
I mean, just logistical things. Like, I had just closed on a house. He had just closed on his house. Oh. He had 2 daughters, and he has full custody of them. Okay. And then I had my son. I mean, and I just didn't see myself getting remarried. And, I was broken. I was really broken. So it was way too early at that point. I think, I really think, scientifically it was too early at that point.
Not scientifically, but maybe what society says.
But I think both. So I had a message in my head going, this is too early, it's too early, but I mean, it really was, I was still real broken. And I think I still am. I'm in therapy, so good. We're good. But man, that divorce was real bad.
Yeah.
It was real bad. Real bad.
In a way that, and we're going to get into that. But so he had 2 girls, you had 1 boy. Clearly being together, and he has custody and you have custody. So clearly being together means that you would have to, you would grow from 1 child to all of a sudden 3 children. Yes. Which is big. Yes. Because I'm a mother to 1 child. When I have to take care of her friends for a couple hours, I'm like, oh my God. I don't know how people do this. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, stop hitting each other. What are y'all doing? And so that's why I'm like, oh, God.
But luckily by trade, I just, because teacher.
Well, you are a teacher. So, that's true. Yeah,
but also, do I want to come home and do that?
Yeah. And so, for you and for him, that's big. And so now you're going to mother 2 children, 2 little girls. And I'm always thinking about the baby mama. Is she there? Is she not there? How involved is she? Does she act the fool? Am I going to have to act the fool? Who acting the fool? You know what I'm saying? What's happening?
I do. She's all right.
Yeah. But you got to think about all that. That has to be factored in, right?
And so, the family dynamic, too. Yeah. The fact that, my parents are, they are very, very conservative. So I'm like, how is this going to work? They're already so in my business and very opinionated about my life and my choices and, all of that. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with what that's going to look like,
Yeah. It is, and then will your son acclimate to being the only child and then being one of 3? It's just so many things. As I think, and I can't speak for men because I don't know how they process it, but I know as a woman, that's all the things I would be processing.
Oh yeah.
What does this mean? You know what I'm saying? What does this look like? And will my child be okay?
Yeah.
And is he gonna treat my child like one of it? Because I don't do the stepdaughter, stepson thing. If you mind, you mind.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you come with 5 and I come with 1, then we have 6 kids.
That's right.
And I expect you to do it the same way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Which
and
is hard.
I don't like this bonus stuff.
Yeah.
This is my bonus child. No, that's either your child or it's not your child. That's you know.
Yep.
Me personally. So I'm sure you had your mind was going.
Oh yeah.
100 miles a minute.
Yes. Yeah. And my kid was my number one concern.
Right.
I mean, he is my whole. That's my whole, like that's my whole heart, my whole world. And so, even with like okay, I love you. All right, now we got that. And then it was what next, because he lived in Crowley. And I'm here. It's like a 30-minute drive. And so that's a lot driving back and forth and whatever, but like, we're not moving in together. That's too soon. And he's like, well, he was ready. That was the thing. I think from the jump, yes. What?
How soon did y'all move in?
Well, okay. So, soon. And yeah, soon. Like we moved in, 5 months. 5 months. That's
not bad.
Which is,
but yeah.
I mean,
when you're at our age, we're young, by the way. Just let me be real clear that we are young. However, we are very wise.
Right. We are we're not as young as we look.
Yeah, that part. Your life has done us well. Anywho, but when you're as young old as we are, you know
how much time left.
It doesn't take long to know what you want and know what you like and we've been through so much up until this point that I don't see. Sorry, y'all. Listen, I got wardrobe malfunctions.
Like,
it's flying around. I'm like,
I saw that one.
Over here,
it's really here. I see it.
Yeah. Attacking me, by the way. It's attacking me.
It is. It's very aggressive.
Anywho, it's very aggressive.
Aggressive thread.
Anyway, so I feel like at this age, I'm not surprised. A lot of my friends that are now getting married, it happened quickly. Like they met the guy, they fell in love, they moved. Everything has happened quickly at this age because I feel like we know. We know what we know. Yeah. Period. It doesn't take that long.
It's true. It really was, with the saying I love you, the first thing, it was like a moment where I just knew. And I had this like internal monologue going like, what are you afraid of? Because that's everything that was holding me back was these voices in my head saying, it's too soon. It's too fast. What about this? What are people going to say?
What are people going to say? Yes.
How am I going to feel that? Whatever. And then I was like, nope, this is it. I know that I love him. And I know that, I've never met anybody like him. I've just never met anybody like him. And I knew that he was special and I wanted him to know that. And then with the moving in, like that was a whole other battle where he was like looking at houses and sending me houses. And I was like, no, I can't, it's too soon. And then there was I remember I'm driving home from work one day in May about this time. Yeah. And I was like, I can't see why not. Like he's, and at that point I was like in love with the girls too. And I'm like, it's about to be summer. I'm going to be off all summer. Like, what are they going to do? Sit in that, which is what's the worst that could happen? And I think that's the thing too at this age. And especially if you've already been through, a failed relationship or whatever, you just like, I've already been through it. I've already been through the worst thing that could happen. Now I don't want to put my kid through that again. So that's a scary thing, right? I don't want to move people in here and have him get attached and then have that
ripped away.
Yes. Yeah. And so it was what's the worst that can happen? Number one. And then number two, like I'm committing because to me, once you move in, that's just as big, if not bigger than marriage. You know what I mean? Because that's like, we're right.
We're living tonight. We're doing the thing.
Yes. You are a part of my life now.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, again, it was just like the epiphany of, okay, that's it. Like we're doing it.
Who suggested the move in together? Who was the driving force behind it?
Well, he had been driving for a long time. He was driving and I was like, I can't. And so we finally agreed to just not talk about it because it was like causing arguments. And then it was me where I had the epiphany on the way home one day. And then I talked to my kid and said, hey, like, because every day he would be like, are the girls coming? Are the girls going to come over? Are the girls going to come over? And so he asked that day and I said, how would you feel if they were just like here all the time. Like, what would you like? What do you think if they just like lived here? Is that weird? Is that too much? Whatever. And he was like, yeah, and like ran around the house all excited. And my kid does not do that. He does not get excited. He is a grumpy old man always. He hates everything.
He's so handsome with his little cute self.
He's a mess. He's a mess. You take him anytime.
I like him.
You haven't met him in person. Listen, just take him for 30 minutes and let me know. No, I'm just kidding. He's wonderful. But he was so excited. And so that sealed the deal for me. And so I guess at that point I was the one that was like, okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. But I'm not moving to Crowley. So
he's going to come here.
You have to come here.
Yeah.
So we made it work.
It.
We made it work.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then how long from there did y'all get married?
Well, that was May. In my head, I was like, okay, we have moved in together. Like we're committed, right? That's it. And we had talked about getting married, but it was always like to me, it was always like a far off thing. Mm-hmm. He had just started a new job. I don't remember what it was, but he had just spent a whole lot of money on something. So I was like, not thinking marriage for a while. Mm-hmm. I'm not in a hurry, like, whatever. He's been married 3 times before this. Okay. He will argue and say 2, but he is not here right now. Okay. And you are an attorney. He got married and 1 got annulled. Okay. Anyway, that's the whole thing. It was 3. Anyways, whatever. So I'm thinking he can't be in a hurry to get married again. I'm not in a hurry to get married. So to me, that was like 3 years down the road, maybe. And so he proposed, and it was the best.
That proposal was amazing. Tell the people about this proposal.
It was real good.
Did you know it was coming?
I had no idea.
Okay.
No idea.
How did it happen?
No idea.
Tell me your day.
I will. It was a Friday night. If you're a teacher, Friday nights we don't do anything. We're tired. But there was this guy, this singer that we like. That's kind of like our song. And he was in town, so he had bought tickets for us to go to that. And I'm like, oh, Friday night. Okay, let me drink a Red Bull or whatever, make it happen. Mm-hmm. So we go. I wore shoes that were too tall, so we sat on the floor. It's a thing. Anyway, and so as we're leaving the show, and I said, I just had the funniest picture in my head of us getting married, like in Hawaii or something, and playing that song at the wedding, and my parents just freaking out because the song says the F word repeatedly, like a whole lot. It's real sweet and acoustic on a little guitar, and then it says that word repeatedly. And so I was like, I just picture my parents like being there and my mom having an actual heart attack. And he was like, that's funny. So we go to the car. And then we're driving. Nobody drives like that. He's driving. I was sitting in the seat, not sober. And he was like, hey, we should go downtown. We were in downtown Dallas. He's like, we should go down to that little place over there. And I was like, no, I'm so tired. Like, okay. All right. And he's like, well, I don't know. I don't want to drive all the way home yet because, I've had a couple drinks, whatever. And I was like, so would you want to go drink more and then drive? What are you talking about? And so I'm like, can we just go home? I'm so miserable. And then he pulls over in front of this hotel. And I'm like, what is this? Like, what are we doing? And he's like, we're going to go in here. And I was like, is there like a rooftop bar I don't know about? Like it's a hotel. Okay. All right. So we walk upstairs and he walks, anybody that knows him, he has a walk. It is very specific to himself. Mm-hmm. It's like a strut, like the chest is out, and it's just like people comment on it like in public. It's weird. Anyway, so he is like walking with purpose, and I'm like, okay, I guess this is what we're doing. All right. So we get in there and it's the 14th floor, and I'm like, there's like 32 floors. What's on the 14th? Like I have no clue. I am
still have not put anything together.
Not
you're
at
just
all.
Irritated as hell that you're going to the 14th
tired.
floor.
My feet hurt. I'm like, sit down. And so we start walking down the hall, and I'm like, what are we doing? And he goes, well, I knew we were going to be out late and I knew you were going to be tired. So I got us a room. And I'm such a bitch. In my head, I was like, I don't have any of my shit. Like, I don't have a toothbrush.
No clothes,
I'm wearing leather
panties,
pants. I'm wearing, yes. I'm wearing leather pants. I don't have a toothbrush. Like, what are we doing? Okay. But like, I didn't want to be, and I was like, okay. Oh, that's nice. Okay, cool. And so opened the door, and it was like a Lifetime movie, with the rose petals and the flower and I almost said flower, and the candles and the champagne and the whatever. And I walk and the heart-shaped thing on all the stuff. I was like, oh, what is happening? And then I turn around and he's down on one knee and I start hitting him. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And so he's a very sweet and sentimental man. And so he kind of like gets teary and he says, you know, I love you so much. And I just know I can make you happy. So, you know, will you marry me or whatever? And I did the thing that whenever you see it on The Bachelor or whatever, I'm like, who does? Nobody does that.
You did it.
I did it. I did the face, the white girl face. I did it. And the whole time I was like, stop in my head. I'm stop. And I couldn't stop. And then I couldn't talk either. And so then he got scared that I was going to say no. I was like, yeah. And so that was that. It was so sweet. So he had like orchestrated the whole thing that day. And
he put some thought into that.
He really did.
I can appreciate a man who goes all the way out on the limb to put thought into something like that. Right? I think that takes, because a lot of men don't want to think that far ahead. They don't want to put all that detail into it. They just want to just do the thing. And
I hate, you know, I don't want to constantly compare the two, but yes.
You know, I'm just saying.
Husband number one was a no thinker.
Right.
I got an orange outdoor umbrella for my birthday one year.
You did what?
Like the umbrellas that go on like a table. I got one of those for my birthday one year. An orange outdoor umbrella. There's no table to put that.
Wait a minute.
I'm not even making it. I'm not making it.
You got an orange outdoor umbrella that did not belong to no table. There was no table in sight.
Nope.
To put the umbrella on.
Not at all.
So what was you supposed to do with the umbrella?
I was so sad. It was like a theme where every year he would just ruined every anniversary, every birthday. Everybody knew it was like a thing. My friends were like, Jen, we're going to take you because we know he's going to fuck it up. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Right. And so he did. And so the next day I'm crying and I was like, I just need to understand. Like, I don't want to be ungrateful.
Thank you for my orange umbrella.
But I was like, but just like, what were you thinking? Because like maybe there's like a thing that I don't. And he was
because you was gonna get the table for the next birthday,
right? Or I'm building it for you, and it's custom, so it wasn't ready on time. Or I'm taking you to a tropical island, and it was a symbol. No, he said, and I quote, "Well, it's about to be summer, and like you take G outside a lot, and you're really white." That's the thing that happened. That's a real thing that happened.
So going. Listen, I don't even have anything to say. And that's not normal for me to be speechless. Okay. Moving on. So you went from somebody who doesn't think about you at all. To somebody who puts a lot of thought into things that he
and like
does
months. Like he'd been planning it. He asked my dad, which I almost like. Part of me was like, but okay, but it was like the gesture of it that he went and asked my dad, and he had asked him, this was November, he had asked him like beginning of October. So he'd been planning it from, the kids knew, all the kids knew, and like he had it all, it was a whole thing. I know, he's real sweet. He's real good at those things.
That is so dope.
It really is.
And that is a story that you're going to be able to tell your grandchildren about it and so forth and so on. I think that's a pretty dope story.
Yeah,
so you got the romantical.
I did.
Heart-shaped flowers with the candles and everything everywhere. And then the turnaround and,
yeah.
I've always not, listen, as women, men don't understand this. As women, or maybe they do, I don't know. We think about this moment from the time we're small.
Yes.
Little girls, about how, you know, what is that going to look like when he finally proposes to when whoever he is.
We get our nails done. I don't think I have my nails done.
Well, you didn't know. You didn't have no extra panties.
Yeah, we're nothing.
But that's okay.
Yes.
You got a ring out
of it. It was a long drive home.
You got a ring out of it. So, you said it was a long drive home?
I was like, we are going straight home in the morning. Oof.
So, you know, I think that's pretty dope. I know I have always imagined what that would look like for me, right? And more importantly, not so much of what he would do, but how I would react, right? Like, am I going to cry?
Not this. Don't do that.
Well, I don't know. Now you're saying that that's a thing.
It's in your head.
And like, you can't control it. Am I going to cry? Am I going to look stupid and just be like, you know, with my mouth?
Have you not? No one's ever like brought that up to you. You've never had
nobody's brought it up.
And so, but no grandiose. proposal?
I've talked about marriage with people I've dated, and
Okay, but
we've talked, but no, nobody's ever proposed.
what is wrong with these men?
They
don't know.
It's my picker is off. Clearly, right? My picker is off.
Mm-hmm,
So but no, nobody's ever proposed. I have the farthest I've went is going to get my my last relationship, the relationship before this one. I got we went to the ring store. I got my size. Okay. Finally, at 41 years old, I finally know my ring size.
Okay.
And then I was able to pick out my style of ring. So now I know what kind of ring I want.
That's good. Okay.
Right? I'm a more classic girl. I didn't think I was so classic.
Right.
And so, you know what I'm saying? Timeless, but your girl is timeless. Okay? Just so you know.
Obviously. Look at those earrings. Those are timeless. Those are timeless.
I'm in my
They are.
And so I did learn that, but that's about as far as I've ever been. No, nobody's ever like on one knee and you're everything to me and I want to marry you fast. No, I haven't gotten there yet. And as I mentioned in other shows, there's nothing wrong with me. Because people are like, men to be like, men that I've met and that I've dated, like when you first meet them, like, have you ever been married? And I'd be like, no. And they'd be like, what's wrong with you? How are you this old and you ain't never been proposed? First of all, people have wanted to propose to me. Like, well, they've tried. And I'm just like, I don't think you should do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be like, I don't think I'm gonna say yes. You know what I'm saying? So like, just don't waste your time type deal. You know, and then like I said, this last one, we went ring shopping, but it didn't pan out. Yeah. And really, I went, if truth be told, I believe he went ring shopping because he already knew he had one. Like he already knew he was on the edge of being booted out of this relationship by me. Oh, so it's like this was like there you go. Oh, and that's why I think he did it, you know. So I went along because I didn't believe that. I thought he was bullshitting me, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, we're gonna see. Okay. Sir. I'll sit in the store with you. We're gonna see how far this little thing you got going on is gonna go, right? So that's what that was.
Okay, well, don't give up because this is my first one. This is the first time in my life I've ever had a man do these things ever. I've never had anybody do that kind of stuff. It's so shocking and overwhelming. And sometimes, like, I don't know, we got married in Hawaii. I was like when he said that, beautiful. When he said, oh, we're going to get married in Hawaii, I was like, okay. Because, I was married to somebody for 11 years that said we were going to do a whole lot of things that we never did. I had the umbrella ready and everything. Right.
The umbrella for Hawaii.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so this one, when he said all that, I was like, okay. And then like came home one day and was like, okay, I booked it. I was like, What is it? Oh, that's okay. That's what we're doing. And we were driving around Hawaii. I don't know. I keep doing this.
I don't know what.
Driving my magical car.
I don't know.
I said, I just had this moment where I was like, I started crying in the car and said, it just feels, it's so overwhelming because I've never had anybody in my life like do so much that was just, for me or for us. Like I've never.
And show you that type of love.
Yeah.
And that type of, like those grand gestures. Like I'm a grand gestures type of girl. Like I don't, I don't know about anybody else. I don't know what these people reading on social media and putting on social media. But me, I'm romantical. That's my word, by the way, if you don't. Romantical is my word. Okay. So I'm very romantical and I like romantical gestures, right? And so those grandiose gestures, like I feel like, why not? Why not me? Why wouldn't? But you're right. Like I don't get those.
Yeah. So you've always been the one that does them and you don't get them back.
I've always, when I do grand gestures, but I don't get. Same. I don't get swept off my feet. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if it's me or it's the people I'm picking or both. It's me and the people I'm picking. But it's like the men don't feel like they need to grand gesture me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just, because I feel like, and this is me, because I'm like, well, we've known each other for 30 years, but we haven't known each other, so like, I think you have such a confident, first of all, you're very smart, obviously, and funny, and like you're gorgeous and all those things. I feel like when you're powerful women like us, sometimes it's hard to find a man that can meet that. You know what I mean? That can match it. And so I feel like I know my dating habits in the past, like prior to this, was I didn't date based on what I wanted. I dated based on what I thought I was supposed to do. If that makes sense. And I don't know. I had a horrible picker. Horrible. Yeah. Horrible.
Picker's office chair is broken.
So bad. So bad. And so when I think about like, you know, the heartbreak of, you know, the divorce and like all the other things before that too, I think it took all of that to get me to a point where I could be ready for somebody like him.
Yeah. And appreciate it.
Yes. Yes. And you know what? And be not so afraid to date somebody like him, because he was always, it's so funny. Like I have a friend that we've been friends since we were like 12 or 13. And when she met him, she said, "Oh my God, yes. Like that's your husband." She was like, "That other guy." She said, "I honestly thought like, I just didn't know you anymore because that is not you.
That's not you.
This guy is you." And I was like, and
I
so,
love him.
Right. But it really took like me kind of number one, like fixing me. Cause you know, right.
Absolutely.
And I didn't start doing that till I was like, I don't know, 38, you know, 37, 38, which ironically, I think is what caused the demise of the marriage, because I think I was in like a very weakened state throughout that marriage. Like I felt in the first half or so, I felt like he was better than me.
No, we're talking for clarity. The first marriage.
Yes, marriage number one.
Okay.
Marriage number one. No, this marriage we are great. But no, marriage number one. Like I felt like he was too good for me, and I felt like everybody saw that. And so I always felt like I was having to do more. You know, be different, be more polished, be more professional, be like, and it was like little things like, you know, in hindsight, there was a lot of little red flags about that, you know, like, can you take your nose ring out around my parents? Things like that. And I'm like, well, we're a grown ass woman, but okay. All right. That's fine. You know, things like that. Anyway, but I shifted when I was, in my late 30s, where I don't know what happened. I just kind of had this I do know what happened, but I'm not going to say it on camera, actually. But like a thing happened, and I was like, I got to figure this out. Like, I have to figure out like what's going on here. Like, I don't feel like a whole person. I don't feel like happy and fulfilled in my life. And so I started working on me, which meant not being completely devoted to his happiness all the time. And that shift, I think, was what kind of led to it. But that paired with the split, which I would have never left. I would have never left him, because I felt like this is what you do. Like, you just stay, like, I committed. I'm staying forever.
So you work it out.
You just do, right? You put up with it. You know, and it was like, I used to tell people it was like walking around with a wet blanket on all the time, just like, you know, and I would find excuses to not go home, to, you know, be out later, to, you know, whatever. And then COVID happened. All we could do was be home.
That opened up a lot of people's eyes.
It really did.
Because you were forced to look at the person that you were living with, you know, in a relationship with, whatever with.
Yes.
That opened up a lot of people's eyes. A lot of divorces came out of COVID.
Oh my God.
Lot.
So many.
I made a lot of money.
I bet you and the therapist,
I hate to say
right?
I made a lot of money.
But good for you. But like, I'm so glad, because I would have stayed forever. Like, I would have just been, and in my head, it was like, this is the best it's going to be. And that's fine. Like, I loved him. You know, he wasn't a horrible person.
Yeah.
He did
right
some real horrible.
Oh,
yeah, he really did. But he wasn't a horrible person. And in my head, like, this is our family. This is what it's like. We have the kids and, you know, whatever. And we were friends, you know? So like, there may not have been the romantic because there was never like a passionate love there. Like, you know, I was never like really attracted to him. No problem.
See, and listen, I'm at the point in my life where there has got to be passion. It has got to be like that connection, that vibe, that, you know, or else I'm better off alone.
Yes. Go find a friend. Right? I'll go hang out with my girlfriends if I want to hang out and watch a movie, right?
Right.
But I need some fire.
Right. Right. That fire has got to be there. Because I've been through too much, you know, and I'm too big of an age for it not to be, in my personal opinion, for it not. And then I've been single for so long that at this point now, I'm not taking just anything.
Right.
You know, I've acclimated myself to being alone, and good, bad, or indifferent. I've acclimated to being alone. I'm alone, right? And so now I want what I want. And part of what I want is that passion, right? And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
No. In fact, I'm like, can we just like PSA this for all the young ladies? Like,
go ahead.
Like, right? Like, I feel like do that. Like as women, I feel like we get told that we got to be married. You know, you got to be married or you're not. It's like what I said in my thing. Like, that's why I married the first one, because I was like, I'm about to be 30. What happens if I'm 30 and not married? Like, who's going to want me? If I'm,
because that's
30.
what they tell us.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
That's what they tell us so many things. Like one of my guests on another show was saying that she felt like she was past her prime because of what society was telling her, and her friends got married at a young age, at 25, between 25 and 30. So she felt like it was past her prime. So at this point, I mean, all was lost, right?
Yes. Might as well sign up and get our rocking chair and our needles and
with the cats, with 12 cats all around. And I'm not even a cat person.
No,
I don't even like cats. And I was like, I'm gonna be an old lady with cats all around me. Somebody take care of my cats. That I don't even like. Somebody take care of my cats. And so, and my best friend be like, "Oh, girl, cats."
Yeah,
and I be like, "Cats, girl, I don't know.
I don't know.
What they said. I'm a spinster."
Yeah.
So,
that word.
And so she was like, you know, and I was like, well, because all her friends were getting married at 20. Now, my group of friends, just one of us is just not getting married at the ripe age of 43, 44 years old.
Yeah.
It might, like, we're late. We're late bloomers. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't surrounded by a whole bunch of people that were married off, and it's just me, right? So I didn't have that same feeling. But yeah, they do tell you, you know, the older you get, nobody's going to want you. You have kids. Nobody's going to, you know, and then you get out of that relationship and try to date again. Ain't no man going to want to come in and raise your children, you know.
All your baggage.
Yeah. You got more baggage. The older you get, you get more baggage. And, you know, do you buy a house? Do you not buy a house? Because the man doesn't want to move into your house if you buy it. So then what am I supposed to do? Live in apartments all my life? If I don't want to, there's nothing wrong with living in apartments all your life. There's not. However, if that's not your dream, then as a woman, what do you know what I get told to this day?
What is that? I can only
do not acquire too much, because I'm single. So if I acquire too much, then a man coming in will be like, well, what is he supposed to do? If I have this house, these cars, this money,
you know what he's supposed to do? Give you a high five and be like, good for you. Look how successful
come on in
you are.
And come drive some of these cars and live in this house and let's go on vacation together, right? Like that's how I think. But men are telling me, don't get too much. And then when I bought my house, I remember I went out. I was living in San Antonio, but I came up to Dallas and I went out in Addison somewhere. And I remember I was excited. I just bought this house. I just closed on a house. I got my first house, right? In San Antonio. And I met some dude who happened to be a realtor in the club. And I'm telling him, like, I just bought, you know, because he's asking, like, oh, how many kids you got? At the time I didn't have. No, at the time Melly was there. One kid, you know, and do you have a house? And I was like, yeah, I have a house. He was like, you have a house? I said, yeah, I have a house. He was like, huh. And I was like, well, what's up? Like, what is that about? And he was like, well, it's just that most women don't have houses. And it's kind of interesting that you have a house and you're single and you have one without a man. And I'm like, oh, what?
And he's like, because I still live with my mom, is probably what he said at the end of that. No. Okay.
But that's what it was given, right? That's the vibes it was given. But that's what we're told as society, right? Like he stopped talking to me. He was all into you, girl, until I said I had a house, and then he walked off, and I was like, "That's why your mama ugly, dog."
I know, right?
I'm sorry, that's why your mama ugly.
Yep.
Because like that was the end of the conversation for him. Because I had a house. I was like, well, I bet you he wouldn't have walked away if I said I was a crackhead. You know what I'm saying? I had 6 kids. Oh, yeah. And I was homeless, right?
Like, let me get you a drink.
But it was the house. Right? Yeah. You thirsty, girl?
Yeah. Yes. Right.
But it was the house thing that did it for him.
Yeah.
Did him in.
Right.
I said, oh, okay. Well.
Yeah. Yes. See, it takes a special man because I feel like, societal norms and all of that definitely obviously plays a big role in it. So for a lot of men, they need to feel needed. You know what I mean? They need to feel like you need them, like they support you, like they offer that, like they're the provider. Okay. Because if they don't do that, then what else do they do? You know what I mean? So I feel like that's their, in my experience, that is their, we have our things like weight, like we have to look young, we have to be fit, we have to be whatever. Mm-hmm. And they feel like they have to be the provider. Like that's what they do. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I think it takes a very evolved man. Is that the right word? I don't know. At this age anyway, to find a woman who is confident, single. That was a dumb thing to say for single. Hopefully she's single. But like, has a career, successful, owns a, it takes a man that is very confident and secure in himself, to go like, oh, she doesn't need me. Right? She doesn't need me. She wants me.
She wants, and I think that's better than needing you, right?
Absolutely.
Like I want you. I can want anybody, but I want you. Right. Mm-hmm. And you're right. I'm not using you for your money.
Right.
I'm not using you for what you can do for me. Mm-hmm. I don't like cutting the grass, so maybe I can use you for that.
Absolutely.
Right.
And take out the trash.
Right.
Because I don't want to roll it down in the mornings.
And the cars. I don't like to register them and inspect them and gas them and oil change them. I don't like to do any of those things. Right. Mm-hmm. So, so then that's.
And get the tall stuff because I'm kind of short.
Well, I'm tall, but I don't want to stretch.
Yeah. So either way,
there's that. Mm-hmm. Like I don't. I'm a princess, right? And I like to be one. And so, but I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot that we have to deal with. It's a lot of society standards that we have to deal with. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of, and then the older you get, it doesn't get any better.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so
I got friends on the apps. I'm glad I was not out there for very long because that's a dark place.
It's terrible.
That's a dark place.
You know what kind of foolishness I ran across on them apps?
Yes, I do, because I was on them for a minute and I was like, y'all got a lot of nerve. You have a lot of nerve, sir.
Sir. I was like, how do these men have egos that they shouldn't have?
No.
Like the confidence that some of these men have that they should not.
You do not have enough teeth to have that much confidence. What are you doing?
And it'd be the big dudes, like the big overly obese ones that then want somebody that's not overweight. And my girl has to be skinny. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that. Stuff that doesn't make any real sense. Mm-mm. Or they don't have any money, but they want the girl to have all the money. Mm-hmm. That the girl has to be, pockets fat, but they, what are you doing? Mm-mm. Right? Mm-mm. It was just a lot of foolishness. God. Like, y'all, if y'all are on these apps, like, God bless you, right?
Yeah.
Because the things that are out there, the people that are making these accounts, they're terrible. Mm-hmm. And then I went on dates with some of them. Like, I got dressed.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And I put on panties in my good makeup for these dates. Like, I feel like if I put on panties, right?
Yeah. What do you do normally? You just walk around with no underwear on? Like, what's... Well, I mean, that's true, but like, okay. All right. Well, that's a topic for another day.
Whatever day you want to talk. She's like, what do you do? Uh-huh. No, I don't,
What was
theoretically, I put on. I may depend upon the outfit. I may or may not have.
I just pulled my whole earring off.
Okay.
Like that. Oh,
I mean, we're talking about panties. It's getting a little deep in here.
Flustered.
Anywho,
what was your best catfish? That's what I want to know. Like the one you got there and you were like, how did you think this was going to go, sir? Did you think I wasn't going to find out that you were?
Oh, let me tell you. So one dude I really thought was catfishing me. His poses were very, he knows his angles, which is that was red flag number one. And I didn't pick up on it.
Right.
Because most men don't know how to take pictures. It's really, they take the picture from here. Uh-huh. This is all you see. Uh-huh.
Or the one with the fish.
Yeah, that one.
Stop. We don't care about your fish. Okay,
and how big the fish was.
Nobody cares at all. Okay.
Unless you're looking for another man, you have to post pictures that will attract a woman. You're looking for a woman. Post the fish doesn't. Or
unless you want a woman who will fish with you. We don't want to do that. Okay, go ahead.
So, and the deer, or kneeling by the deer, the dead deer.
Oh, any animal, just animals, no animals. We're doing the Lord's work here today, by the way. This is like a PSA. You're
Just so
welcome.
you know.
You're welcome.
And so, okay, so he knew his angles. Red flag number one. And so then he told me he worked for IT or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was something like IT, and then I was like, but what department? Because I like to dig a little deeper, right? Because that's cute, right? You could tell me you work for Google, right? But you're the janitor, and I think that's a different thing, right? No, no shade to the janitors, but I'm just saying, like, working at Google and being a janitor at Google gives off two different vibes, right? And so he worked at IT. Okay. Then I learned that he's in school to further his education in IT. And I'm like, okay, so what department in IT are you in? He's in security. He gives the badges out to the real IT people. He's security. Stop. So first of all, you job fish me. Yeah. First of all.
Oh.
Then you got this angled picture. So I go out and I meet him on a date, and he's bigger, not fat. He works out, so he's stockier and he's more muscly.
Okay, muscly.
Muscly than his picture. But I'm like, okay, that because I walk in. We went to Primo. Okay, and he's there before me. So I walk in, and the lady, I said, I'm meeting somebody else. She says, the big guy? No, I'm not meeting a big guy.
I said, no. Guy that works at Google. No, IT. Sorry, IT. It's IT.
I'm meeting a smaller guy. Yeah. It's not a big guy. Girl, I rounded that corner. It was the big guy. It was the big guy sitting over there on the thing. So then I get there, and we had a good conversation. We never met up again. We never talked again. Turns out he posts something on a Dallas Facebook group months later introducing himself. Hey, y'all, this is my name, and this is who I am, and this is where I work. Still IT. And me and my wife moved here 2 years ago. Bro, what? You was married?
Yeah.
You were married.
A lot of nerve. And met you in public? Is he from Mansfield?
He met me in public.
So that's a big place. A lot of people go there.
He doesn't live in Mansfield.
Oh,
he lives,
yeah,
he met me, and then and me and my wife moved 2 years ago. I read that thing, I liked it, and I just moved on. I didn't even say it.
Yeah, because like, what's the point? Like,
right. It wasn't that, I was like, but dude was like 2 years ago, and this was like, maybe the date was like maybe 8 months ago. So that was my biggest catfish. It was the angles, it was the job fish, the angle fish, and then the wife fish. The wife.
That's a pretty big one.
That's a lot. That's a lot. What about you?
I would say, oh gosh, I don't know. Really, I'm trying to think if I actually even met any. Oh, yeah. I went, okay. He didn't fish me that bad.
That bad.
His pictures were honest. Everything was honest. Jury's still out on whether or not he's married. He might've been, I don't know. What got me was we were already like, y'all remember the whole purpose of me dating this second time around, right? Like what I was looking for.
Right.
So we were, okay. We weren't to step 10 yet, but we were on our way. And then he started telling me about like Hillary Clinton drinking baby blood. And he was a conspiracy theorist to the max, like passionately. And I was like, it does not take long. I feel like with me to figure, when we're not just talking about dating and things, to figure out like which side of this I'm on. It's not that one. It's not that one. And also I read books and I'm like smart and stuff. And so he just kept going on and on about all the things. I mean, he was like, you know what I'm talking about with the baby blood, right? And the Hillary Clinton and the baby blood.
I've never heard about the.
Oh God. You're like, what is happening?
What is happening?
Listen, just Google that. Okay. Actually, probably don't Google that.
I'm Googling
but
that.
Okay, yeah, it's a thing. It's this theory about the celebrities that like drink baby blood. And that's why they stay young. And Hillary Clinton is one of them. And it's a whole thing.
She doesn't look
No, I know, right? I'm like, God, if you're doing all that, you'd think it, but it'll bless her. Anyway, she's had a hard life. So she's been through a lot. Yeah, that was a rough one. But that was I didn't like, it happened so fast. So I feel like I was like, no,
get out there and do your thing. Okay.
Now, way back when I had a few. Okay. That was like, you are 9 inches shorter than you said you were. Like I got it. He's like sitting up at the bar and then he steps down and I was like, hello. Hi, guy. Hello down there. And I'm pretty short. So like, okay, yeah. Or the ones that are like, morbidly obese and they don't mention that and they angles and anyway, whatever. But that was
your, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So really quickly, because
Yes.
we didn't get a chance to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're open to talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
Why did your first marriage end?
I know, right? We got to backtrack. We've been at this a while.
Yeah, we have.
Sorry. Okay.
It's been good.
I'm trying to think of the abridged version. I would just say he was like a very tormented man who was very unsure about himself, who he presented to me. I really genuinely believe that who he presented to me in the beginning of our relationship was who he really thought he was. Okay. I think who knows? I don't know anything anymore. But he was a really good man. And he did the right thing in a lot of ways. But I really think there was like some mental illness, maybe. Probably. But the fun part, that was the sad part. The fun part is like, what happened was, like things just kind of started to spiral, like, mid-COVID, when he started to experiment with hallucinogenics. And so the fun part about that is like when we met and like our 20s, like we didn't know each other, right? So we met when we were 29. I was crazy, right? Like I was wild. I had the strict conservative parents growing up. So when I got out of the house, I was like, whoa, woo. And he didn't. Okay. He got married really young, had a child, and had been very just like straight laced, whatever, right? So he didn't get to have the wild, right? Mm-hmm. I did. And he would always like kind of give me a hard time about it, to be honest. Which is fine. Okay. And so I guess it just like what happened was when you don't get that stuff out when you're younger, it's going to come out at some point.
One way or another. Yeah.
Yes. And so but the pandemic was like, hey,
let's do it now.
Woo. And so that's what happened. So he started came home one day and was like all of a sudden real happy. He had been real mopey and depressed all the time. And then one day was like real happy. And we had all these people over. It was like my family, little barbecue, my whole family, all the people, aunt, uncle, sister, all kids, all the things. And he's like laughing it up and having a great time. And I'm like, what's up? And so after everybody left, I was like, look, I don't want to look this gift horse in the mouth. Right. But also I love it. You were actually funny for once, but how do we make this happen again? And he was like, well, smoked a bunch of weed and ate some mushrooms today. And I was like, what? I'm sorry. What? Because that's not a thing that we, right? And I was okay. What? And he's like, well, I was over at these people. And so then it went from that to okay, you should probably tell me. The next day was our anniversary. He forgot. Yeah.
Completely.
100%. 100%. And it was a beautiful, the moment when I woke up and said, happy anniversary, and saw it on the face. And I was like, there it is. I see it. Mm-hmm. No orange umbrella for me.
No table for that umbrella.
Nothing for that. And so, yeah. So it was a whole situation with that where then I was like, look, if you need to go do the things, go do the things. I'm cool. I'm cool. I don't do it anymore because I'm old. I did it, when it was age appropriate and we didn't have children. But if that's what you need to do, you just got to tell me and I will support you. But you got whatever. So then it turned into coming home that, just things popping out. And then one night we're having game night with some friends who were pretty straight-laced people. And he's like, oh, yeah, because, I grow mushrooms. And I was like, oh, haha, for your pizza. And he was like,
for your pizza.
And he was like, nope. And then went into his little home office and brought them out.
For show and tell.
With people that I work with. And so I was like, cool. And I still didn't leave. I still was like, okay. Now I was real mad. We had a good, what my mother would call a come to Jesus that night. He met the Lord. It was bad. It was real bad. But I stayed and I was like, okay, we're going to figure it out. And then it was just little more. And then finally, I honestly don't honestly, the good news is, ladies, it's all a blur at this point, which is great. It can happen. You can move on.
Yes.
Yay. But the best part was when like, so things were rough, whatever. And then there was this girl who just kept popping up on his Facebook and like liking his stuff like a little too much. And he was like, the thing about him was no matter how annoying he was, no matter how very unfunny he was, for all of his faults, he was the good guy. You know, I was like, he's the guy who will not hurt me. He is the guy who will not break my heart. He's the guy who will not cheat. Like he's not that guy. So I never felt weird about women, even though women loved him all the time. Women, oh my God, I love him. Oh my God, he's so, oh my God. Listen, black women loved him. Like
black women, really?
All the time, like a lot of like excessive where I was like, okay, everybody, I mean, okay. You're gonna be disappointed, but okay. But anyway, so all right. So, but this girl kept popping up, and I just had y'all listen to that gut because it was my gut. I was like, something's off with this girl. Like, what is it? She's laughing at his stuff, which as we have established, not funny. Okay. And I'm like, so one night I was like, what is it? Like, I was trying to have like an honest conversation. I was like, it's just so weird. I've never felt insecure in our relationship. I've never felt threatened. I've never been weird about other girls. And this one, what is it with her? Like, what's her story? And oh man, we got real defensive. Like we got real like, blah, da, 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 and you know, I want this life where I do these things. And you like, quote, I want to go on a road trip from Alaska to Patagonia and you won't go with me. And I want to go off-roading in the Baja and you won't do that. And I was like, you're goddamn right. I will not do either one of those things, but like, I'll support you. Like I'll start a GoFundMe. I'm not doing it, but like nobody wants to do that. That's why people are on YouTube for it. Like nobody wants to actually do that. Anyway. Yeah. So after that, I was like, something's up. Something is awry here, friends. Yes. And so didn't get better things, and so finally there just came a day where I was like, you know what? I can't, like, you're so unhappy. So I just need you to go do one of those things where you like go sleep in the woods for a couple days and like figure it out and then decide if you want to be married. Like, I'm going to be here, but like, you know, whatever. So he goes, and then I had some wonderful, wonderful people in my life who sat down with me and were like, why is this his choice? Why is this on him? Like, you are unhappy. You have been unhappy. You have done everything for him and have given him every opportunity. Like, you do not have to be miserable. And in my head, again, I'm like, but I can't get divorced. I have a kid. Where do I live? What do I do? What, am I buy a house by myself? Where do I live? In an apartment? They're so expensive. What about all these things? And I'm like, yeah. And so I spent the weekend figuring that out. And, and then he came home and was like, we're done. And I gave him the out. He took the out. And then I found out he'd been outing with old girl the whole time. That's who taught him how to grow. Also found out later they have been married for like 2 years, didn't tell anybody. And her first name is very similar to mine. And so that's why
they've been married for 2 years after y'all divorced.
No, they got married about 5 months after we got divorced. And didn't tell him, like, my child was walking around with, like, a stepmom.
And he didn't know. Okay.
No idea.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing your stories with me. They were very entertaining, very good. I love the fact of where you've been and where you're at now. Like, it's a story of hope, right?
Yeah.
Because, again, society tells women like us that, you know, it's not going to happen. Yep. It's just not going to happen.
Yep.
Right? And so I love that you were able to find somebody completely opposite of where you've been, who treats you well and treats you like a princess and does the grand gestures. Yeah. You know, kudos, hubby. Yes. To you for that. So thank you so much for being a guest. I definitely enjoyed you. And for everybody watching, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure that you subscribe to Reality TV 1. That's the channel, y'all. Reality TV 1. And you never want to miss a Dear Future Husband show. I hope you never miss one. And the way to fix that is to subscribe, okay? So make sure you like, you comment, you share, all the good things. And then we'll see you next time. Thank y'all. Bye.